welcome to my Etsy channel. This is Nancy from nancybadijo.com, and welcome to another episode of Etsy Shop Critique. I'm going to be doing a critique on the store called Outer Designs by SMC. So this is a store by owner Lucinda that she allowed me to do a review of her shop. And guys, what I normally do is I'll go ahead and go over one particular listing and I kind of talk about SEO, product photography, listing description, and then I close it out with the curation of the shop. So make sure that you watch the entire video. That way you guys could learn some additional tips that you could do to improve the quality of your store. And also make sure that you click on the text box below to get a free Etsy checklist of everything that you must include in a listing description. So let's go ahead and get started. So any tools and resources that I currently use or talk about on this video are all listed below the video. There's a little box, you click there and you'll find the tools that I use plus additional resources from how to get product photography to how to get banners made all the way to the top videos that I currently have, etc. So you'll find a lot of nice free resources on there. So the listing that I picked for this particular review is this actual listing right here. The first thing I always talk about is product photography. And the reason why I always start with that is because when you sell on an e-commerce platform, the first thing the customer sees is your photo. So the photo has to be amazing. It has to be compelling for them enough to want to click and learn more about the product. But most important, the photo has to illustrate exactly what you're selling. If there's any confusion and the person is confused about what they're seeing or what they're buying, they will not click on the listing and they will continue browsing the Etsy search results and they will go over your listing and keep going to somewhere else to go ahead and make a buy. So what you want to make sure that you do is the first thing you want to do is make sure that your photo showcases exactly what you're selling, right? So looking at this photo, it is a little bit confusing because you don't know what exactly I'm buying. Now, if I read it, it does say it's handmade fingerless gloves. However, just looking at the photo, I really don't know that. It could be anything from a sleeve to maybe an outfit for a doll. I could kind of see that in the front right here. So keep in mind that even though your products are beautiful, no matter how great a product is or service is, if the photo is not good or clear, you will not make any money or you will not get the sale. So the first thing I would do on this photo is that maybe take a photo of wearing the actual product and showcasing a hand wearing the product. That way, it's a clear message that these are handmade fingerless gloves. That is the most easiest way to do it. This photo, you can possibly put it on the second or third photo, but the first photo should be captivating. It should illustrate, like I said earlier, what you're selling, and the person should know as soon as they see the photo exactly what you're selling. At this given moment, I unfortunately I don't know what you're selling unless I read the title or go into the listing description. But majority of people, to be quite frank, don't read. They first look at the photo. Now, looking at the additional photos, they all look pretty much the same. So what I would do is that you should have at least 7 photos showcasing the product from different angles, different looks. Maybe you could have one with the hands, somebody wearing the actual gloves. Maybe you could have one just simply like this, just the gloves by themselves. Maybe you could showcase the front of the gloves, maybe just one of the back only, maybe one of the side or the material, but you need to showcase the item. I say always, if you can't fill in the 10 spots of photos, 7 is a really good number. Additional to that, what I would do is add additional photos, like a call to action, telling the customer what to do. And a call to action is a great way to increase the likelihood of someone clicking on your actual listing. So just letting them know, hey, click below to learn more about these beautiful handmade gloves, or learn more below. Click below. That way they know, oh, if I click here or if I click below, I'll get more information about this product. You have to always keep in mind that a lot of people are still new to Etsy, even though Etsy been around a couple years now. For a lot of people, Etsy is still a pretty new platform, and they really don't know how to navigate it as great. So by you giving them additional instructions and putting that call to action, that actually helps you increase your click-through rate, and hopefully increases the likelihood of them buying from your store. So I highly suggest changing your photo. It's gonna help you a lot in making sure that your photo is very compelling, that the person, you're gonna be targeting two types of people: the person that was actually looking for this product, and the person that wasn't looking for the product, found it, fell in love, right? And they want to buy it from you. So those are the two people that you want to target. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is SEO. And if you have been as an online business for a while now, you probably already know that SEO is something that you have to learn. And SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. And basically, SEO is basically how you get found in the search results. And when somebody types in a keyword, they're able to find you, find your product, and they're able to go ahead and, browse it, click, buy from you, etc. So understanding SEO is very, very important. It does take a little bit of time because it's very time consuming, especially when you are first starting an Etsy shop and you never done this before. We have to wear a lot of hats, and it definitely does take time to learn it. It doesn't happen overnight. And keep in mind that even when you do learn it, or you have a really good field of SEO, it's constantly changing because X is always changing their algorithms. So as soon as you think you got to figure it out, they made a couple tweaks, or they made a couple changes. So something that you will have to always stay up to trend with, and always learn about it and be ready to change your listings. That way you can always stay relevant, and you can always stay on the top search of the of Etsy search results. So what I use is called Rank, and Rank is a tool for or now it's called eRank. It's a tool for anyone that sells on Etsy. And what it does is that they take the numbers and data from Etsy, and they compile it in this tool, and you're able to do keyword research. You're able to plug in your store and see your metrics. There's so many great things with eRank. You could use the free one or the pro version like I have. The free one is pretty good for starting, and then the pro version will give you a little bit more details, which is actually worth paying the $10 extra every single month. Now this is your listing here, and these are your keywords. So the first thing I want to talk about is you have to make sure, the first thing you have to do as an Etsy seller is make sure that you are targeting your target audience. And your target audience are people who are searching for handmade gloves, and that's what they want. So you want to make sure that you are targeting the audience by using keywords and long tail keywords that describe your item exactly how they will search it on the Etsy search results. Another thing you want to do is stay away from broad terms. And I'll give you an idea. This is a broad term right here: vintage. When you use that type of keyword, you're showing your items to anybody and everybody. So therefore, that's when a lot of people say, well, I get a lot of views and I get a lot of clicks, but I'm not making sales. That's because they're showing their product to anybody and everybody, and they're showing it to people that actually don't care about that product, or they're not interested in buying that product. So you want to make sure that You show your product to people that are actually interested in buying from you. So therefore, a word like vintage is too broad. There's too many things that are vintage. It could be a vintage, I don't know, shirt. It could be a vintage CD player. It could be, there's so many things. If you type in the word vintage, you're going to notice that not only is it an oversaturated keyword, it has over 12 million people using it. So you're competing with 12 million other listings. Not only is it oversaturated, the word vintage could be anything. As you can see, there's a pendant, there's bracelets, there's a plate, there's some chinaware. It's so many different things. So now you're just showing your product to anybody and everybody, and that's when it becomes an issue because you're not going to make sales and you're not targeting the actual people that are interested in your product. So the first thing you must do by just simply looking at your tags, one, you got to make sure that you're targeting the people that are interested in your product. So only targeting your target audience. Two, you want to make sure that you're not using keywords that are too broad, which means that once again it is over, that it doesn't really describe your product, and if it does, it is too broad. It could be pretty much anything. And three, you want to make sure that you're not using keywords that are too oversaturated to the point that now you're drowned all the way in the bottom feed of Etsy. So instead of being on the first page of Etsy, which will be considered this page, you are drowned on 250. That's what you don't want to be at. When you are there, your product will never get found. So you want to make sure that you start working on your actual keywords. You want to make sure that you use long tail keywords that are going to help you, right? Write a keyword that is basically what the person would normally type to find your specific product. Once you do the research, right, and you go back and you start doing your keyword research, you want to go back to your listing, and what you want to do is you want to go back and change everything. So for instance, you want to put the new keyword in the beginning of the sentence. Now, also keep in mind that when you are adding keywords with the new Etsy, right? I don't know if you've seen it, but Etsy just made changes to the algorithm. One of the requirements is not to overstuff keywords in the title. What they want you to do is use the main keyword in the beginning because that is an SEO best practice. And then the rest of the sentence should be describing what you're selling, and that's all. Like, keep it short and simple. You want to make sure that you are naturally meeting the SEO factor, but you also are making a listing that's user friendly, and when the person is looking at your listing, they know exactly what they're buying. There's no confusion or overstuffed keywords that causes confusion. What you also want to do is take that main keyword and put it in your listing description. You want to include it in the first 155 characters because that is called your meta description. And your meta description is basically when somebody Googles you on Google or Yahoo or Bing, they are shown a snippet. This is the snippet here. And the snippet is basically, it's almost like a description of your product. It has to be, it has to include your main keyword, and it also has to be enticing. People buy because of emotions. So you have to make sure that you write a captivating description, short and sweet, so they could be persuaded to go ahead and click and learn more about your product or services. And then you want to make sure that you also use the additional keywords that you have, right? All these keywords, the new ones, you want to make sure that you put them throughout your listing description. The keywords is going to help you optimize your page. So therefore, you're going to be found more in the search results. And that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that you are incorporating the additional keywords in your listing description. And that's considered an on-page SEO factor. And when you do that, you rank for more terms. So you want to make sure that you do that. You're not doing that at the current moment, but once you do the new keywords, make sure that you do that. Make sure it sounds natural when someone is reading it, and that you're just not stuffing keywords everywhere. Um, the third thing that we want to talk about is your listing description. And the listing description is very important because it will help you close out the sale with the customer. The listing description should include anything and everything that the person should know about this particular listing. So you should include how to order, what's included, the color, the size, the shape, the dimensions, if you have any shipping fees, the length of time to make the product, the length of time to ship the product. You also want to answer any questions that the person might think of about this particular listing. One, that helps build credibility, and two, it avoids unnecessary messages to you and also closes out the sale a lot quicker. Because if the person has to message you, most likely they'll go somewhere else, find the product, and buy it. So by the time you return the message back and you notice that they probably already went and purchased from somewhere else. So what you want to do is close up the sale as soon as they click on your listing. You want to get the sale, and then in order to do that, you have to craft what I call a killer listing description, which includes everything and anything the customer should know about the product. At the current moment, your listing description is a little bit short, in my opinion. I think it should be a lot longer. You should break it down into sections. I'm going to show you what I mean. You don't have to do it exactly how I do it. This is just an example. But I have mine into sections. So I have description. I have what's included. I have how to order, what you will receive, returns and refunds. This is just a nice way to kind of break it down into little sections. That way there's no confusion. They get to see everything that I currently sell and they understand, and then that builds credibility and they want to go ahead and purchase from me. So I highly recommend doing it that way because it's going to be a lot easier for the person to follow through, scheme real quick, and go directly where they wanted to read and what they needed to know. So work a little bit more in your listing description. Keep in mind these three things. The photo is what makes the person click on your actual listing. SEO is how they actually found your photo. And the listing description is what made them buy from you. It's what closes out the sale. It builds credibility and they get to read everything and anything about this listing and therefore make an informed decision of whether they want to proceed with the order or maybe not, right? But at least if you have everything included, the likelihood of them buying is going to increase a lot more. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the curation of your shop. And the curation of your shop is basically the overall look of your shop. If you have a brand, if it looks cohesive, if you have everything and anything filled out in your store. So I do like the fact that you have a tagline, and you have your name, and you have a profile picture. I would recommend is putting a picture of yourself in the shop owner. When people buy specifically on Etsy, it's a little bit different than when you buy on Amazon. When you buy on Amazon, you don't care who is the owner of the store, where you buying from. But when you buy on when you buy on Etsy, it's a little bit more personal. People are coming to Etsy because they want to buy something that is different. They want to buy something that's personalized. They want to buy something that is custom and handmade. So therefore, they do want to connect with someone and they do want to know who exactly they're buying from. So my biggest suggestion is to always put a picture of yourself. So therefore, people could relate, people know who exactly they're buying from, and it builds trustworthiness with people. So I highly recommend putting a picture of yourself. I do like the fact that you have a banner. It's actually pretty nice. Now, your photos, I would say that from looking at the photos, they look a little bit different each one. So if I was to see this listing on the Etsy search results and I saw this listing here and maybe even this listing here, I wouldn't precisely say, oh, all of these listings are from that one store that I love, Alter Designs. I wouldn't think that because they all have different backgrounds, they're different products, and they don't have a cohesive look. So what I would do is pick like 3 to 4 colors for background, for lighting, for your items, and stick to those colors and try to make everything as cohesive as possible. This will help you build a brand. And when you build a brand, people recognize it. And when people are shopping online, they'll be able to say this item and this item is from the same store. And that will help you grow and make more money, more sales, grow your email list, grow credibility, etc., etc., etc. But I highly recommend doing that. Your About Me section is nice because you did put photos in here. The only thing about the photos, in my opinion, they're a little cut off. So at the current moment, um, to me, they're not as pleasing as they could be, because to the random person that doesn't take the time to read it, and let's say they did go down here and look at your About Me section, they might be confused on what exactly they're buying. So I will upload new About Me photos, but great job for actually even putting some. A lot of people don't have anything filled out in their About Me section nor photos, and you have both, so that's really nice. And I do like the fact that you have an About Me section where you talk about who you are and all the things that you like. I think that's really personal and that's really good because people want to connect and they want to know who they're buying from. And you did a really good job with that. So in that area, I don't really think you need to do any improvement. Good job on linking your Facebook and your Pinterest page. Um, I will write your return and exchange policy a little bit more. And I will even put frequently asked questions if you can. Um, so the overall look of your store, you want to make sure the key takeaways are: have a picture of yourself as a shop owner, update your About Me section. I would I would invest in buying a logo so it could look more professional. And I will also invest in making sure that you have a cohesive brand, cohesive look, and that your store, no matter what you sell, people know, oh, that's from that store, Alter Designs by SMC. Now, what I recommend also is that if you can't do, let's say, the photos yourself or the branding, just go ahead and pay someone else to do it for you. It'll be worth it. And they also have these little boxes, they're called light box, where you could put your products in it and take a photo and then create the same look for all your products. I recommend like searching up or researching light boxes. They're really inexpensive way to take photos. You don't need a fancy camera. You could just do it from your phone. I do it for one of my candle stores and the pictures actually come out amazing. So I highly recommend doing that. I hope that this video has helped you. Guys, I'm trying to create a sense of community where we all come together and help each other out. So make sure that you leave a comment below for Lucinda with any feedback that you would like to give her or any suggestions. Maybe you sell similar items. So making sure that we leave constructive feedback on the bottom of this video. Guys, if this is your first time watching, make sure that you like, leave a comment, and make sure that you subscribe to my Etsy channel. Well, thank you guys for watching, and you guys have a wonderful night.